My sales performance was very bad. I was not performing as per the expected level. I was reminded by my boss that if I do not perform, I may lose my job. I realized that there is a gap. I started working very hard. I implemented the plans, and by the time I reached year end, I was able to achieve my target and I was on 100% achievement. Well, friends, this is the version 1 of a story. Now I'll share a version 2 of a similar story. It was May 2021. I was at 85% to my sales target. I was not too sure how to go about it. We had already lost 10 important customers to competition. Two of our important teammates had already left and joined the competition. I have never faced such a situation in my life. It was a terrible situation. I was under tremendous pressure that how I will recover and balance 7 months of this low performance. At the same time, my senior leadership team had a lot of confidence in me, and it was a big thing of my career at stake, because if I do not do well from here, not only that I will lose the confidence of my leadership team, but also I will not be able to stand in my own eyes. The situation was getting very tense. Then, at that time, something happened in my mind. I sat down, I wrote a business plan that how I'm going to recover from this performance debacle. I created a plan which is expansion and consolidation. I worked on that plan. I invited the entire team. I shared my vision with them. I told that this is the goal that we have to achieve, and I'm going to support them that they should achieve this goal. We worked together, customer by customer, we worked together, product by product, and we started getting some success. Our quarter three performance was at 93%. By this time, we also had hired two more experienced people into our team, and we all worked together in achieving our yearly objective. And as we ended our year 2021, we were at 95% to the target. Though we did not achieve our objective, but our confidence level was extremely high, that from 85% we not only recovered to 95%, but we have gained the confidence of our customers, our clients, and also the team is now gelled well to take on any task. Well, this is the version 2 of the same story. Now, I'm sure you can make a clear difference between what is version 1 and what is version 2. Well, friends, my name is Arun. I'm a life and a leadership coach. And in this video today, I'm going to take the series 2 of storytelling and how to become a confident speaker. In this part, I'm going to tell you about what is a story look like, what story contains, and secondly, how to structure a story. I will also share a live sample with you that how a story is created, what is the beginning, what is the middle part, and what is the end part, and many more things. So stay tuned on my channel, like and subscribe this, share it with your friends, because I'm going to share a very, very deep content that can really help you to become an excellent communicator. Here it goes. So the question is that what is a story? Now there are a lot of things that comes to our mind when it comes to story. One of the very important thing that you have to pay attention to when you are thinking about sharing your story, because in my first part I have already shared that what stories can do you. It can motivate people, it can inspire people, it can help in changing the behavior of people, it can also bring a change or action that they can do. So the point that we have to now work out is that we have to understand that what is a story? How do I create story? Because I remember I gave this task to one of my client and I said that you have to write a story and script it. And he said that he doesn't have any story. He was not sure that what story is all about. Then I made him understand and I simply asked him, tell me, where did you go recently? He said, I went to a foreign country like Singapore. I spent almost a week. I said, that's a story. Share about how did you go, what did you see, how did you feel, and when you came back, what all things that you learned. So stories are always around. So the point is, I'm going to tell you that what is a story, from where you can build your stories. So the number one thing, that is experience. So every time you experience anything which is big enough, which is good enough, it may be a bad experience, it can create a story. Something that you saw an incident that a customer is giving you a feedback that how your products have made a difference in their patient's life, or a customer is giving you a feedback that how your products are helping them in and day out, maybe because of your gadgets or the app that you have created. So it's an experience. So you share that experience with more customers, you are going to create a story. Second is, it can be a journey. Now, journey is not just that I traveled from one place to another. Journey can be that whatever years of experience that you have, you talk about your journey from your first year, or if you are 15 years of experience, how this 15 years has been. What are your core learning? What are your life lessons that you have learned from your parents, from your family, from your friends, from your customers, from your professional journeys? You can talk anything about, and you can create immense and number of stories out of it to inspire people around you. Then it can be a happening, something that has happened very recently, and it has been like you got recently promoted. Talk about it. How did you do that? That's a story. Then comes about a conflict. I'm sure there are a lot of conflicts that are happening between peers to peers, superiors, or even sometimes with customer. A customer was shouting at me and he was telling, your product is rubbish, it doesn't work at all, no matter how much price you charge, but it doesn't work. It's a story, it's a conflict. So you talk anything on these areas, you create a story which people want to listen, people want to inspire and learn from you. And that is where your communication skills will also get better and better. So when we talk about a story, we also need to look at it that a story always have three parts. What are these three parts? Always a beginning, a middle, and an end. I'm sure you would have watched hundreds of movies in your lifetime, and every movie will always have a beginning, a middle part, and an end. Now, in this video, you will also learn that how to create a beginning, how to create a middle, and then how to reach at an end. And then finally, the moral of the story. Because if you can communicate all these factors in your story, people would love to get hooked to it. Because if your story is boring, people are not going to be interested in it. So, how to make that story interesting, gelling, and people can retain and they want to listen it till the end is something your story can do. So let's understand that what story is all about. So what is the story? A story is about any movie that you watch or anything that you have heard in the past from people in their stories. They always have a character. So there is a character in the beginning that I shared. He is a sales manager who is not able to achieve his target. And what exactly his goal is? His goal is to achieve his annual numbers. And what was it going through? He was going through a challenge. He lost his people, he lost customers to competition, and finally he was also at an 85% of performance. So every story will have these three. Now the point is that the character, how does he bring resolution to meet his goal by overcoming the challenge, is all about the story. So if you have heard the first part of this discussion where I shared about the version 1 and version 2 of the story, it clearly reflects these three important components. So story is all about the pursuit of a character to meet its goal, and how he or she overcomes the challenge is all about story. Now this is all theory, but let's first get into what is the structure of a story. How do you structure it? So there are some 4 or 5 components that you must pay attention to when you are structuring a story. The number one is the character real and relatable? So I shared about that sales manager story. Do you think that you can connect with the customer? Because if it is not at a human level, if it is written at somewhere around 35,000 feet, all the big jargons, nobody would be interested. Story has to connect with me. Like you go and watch a movie where you see the character is like a similar life that that character is living, and you connect very well with the customer. That's a story. So it talks about circumstances, it talks about values, it also talks about other qualities which could be that his how he inspired his team, how he thought, how he was nervous, how did he overcome that challenge. This is all about that you have a character who is real and relatable. The second part is there is a sufficient conflict. Now if there is no conflict, means there is no drama. Look at any movie, when it starts with a bang situation. That bang situation will just makes you move, that I want to see that how the character is going to overcome that challenge. Like in the story I shared, he said that it never happened with me. I was not sure what to do about it. There was a challenge in front of him to achieve his target. So that's where you create a situation where the character has a goal and he has a challenge. So how does he overcome that? That creates an interest in the story. The next is, are the stakes high enough? So a lot of time I ask people during the interviews that tell me some significant achievements or any significant failure that they have. And a lot of time people do not understand what significant means, because if it is not significant, it is not of interest to me. So if we are talk about some serious problem, talk about something which is of $1 million stake, like in the story I shared, it clearly said that uh, my senior leadership had a huge faith or a high faith on me, and I had given my commitment. If I don't achieve it, I will not look good even in my own eyes. So the stakes are very high of my own values, that I should live up to the standards that I have raised for myself. So people want to listen to such pieces, that how you have been able to construct a story around that. Number four is there is a clear cause and effect. So yes, there was a clear cause and effect in the previous story, where there was a lack of performance, lack of because the products were there was a loss to competition, and due to which there was a situation that led to an effect of losing people, losing performance, and there was no clue. They were all directionless. So there has to be a good interconnection of events and tight linking. When I say tight linking, means this happened, then you write, then this happened, then this happened, and then this happened. So if I say that in a sequential way, people want to listen that what happened after that, what happened after that. So every story should leave the audience with some questions in their mind. What happened after that? If I am in the same situation, will I be able to do it this way? Or what approach should I do? That's where I said stories inspire people to take action. And last but not the least, is there is an emotional core. If there is no emotion, if there is no feeling, nothing can be done. Like in the end, the story which I mentioned in the beginning talks about that when I ended with 95% performance, I was very confident that my team now can take any challenge. So you have to feel something, because any emotion will give you an action to do something or change in a behavior. And finally, there was a joy of victory in spite of not achieving a 100% performance. So if you follow these 5 steps, you can really create a wonderful story. It can be any event, journey, experience, or anything that you feel that has got some conflict which has to go in the people's mind, and how you overcome that conflict is something they want to listen in your own words. They don't want big jargons, some very specific English or a high funda story visual. They just want to see that what happened with you and how did you overcome. So let me share with you a real-time story, because beginning, middle, and end is something that you need to understand. And I'm sharing a live example that how a story is constructed. So let's hear it out. It was just another month-end sales closing for Sham, a budding sales manager in a leading medical device company. He was enjoying with his colleagues after completing the quarter sales with 100% plus performance. Now, if you listen this, everything looks normal. It's a normal state. It's the beginning of the story where we are talking about somebody who is learning and happy about his business. Suddenly, an alert popped up on his phone. It was a message from his biggest customer. My shipment is not in the dispatch list. Now, this is some disruption. Now, this is where you see that there is a conflict that has just entered into the story. So, it's an inciting incident or a challenge that now the character has to find out that how he will overcome this challenge. And that's how your story is stitched step by step. Then we move into the next part. He rushed back to the office, searching through the shipment dispatch list, tracking numbers, and desperately trying to get in touch with someone at the shipping company. Then he discovered the problem. Beneath a pile of inventory was a box containing the customer's order, packed, labeled, and ready to go. He forgot to put this into the dispatch. Now, what is this? This is the middle part. And in this middle part, the character is working to overcome the challenge. He's trying to restore the balance. And that's what is hooking you up, that now what happens after that. Now, that's how if you construct your story, your audience will get hooked to it and linked to the whole scenario. Then comes the next part. He checked the clock. It was 11 p.m. Too late to ship the packet. His customer needed it for his 10 a.m. patient wound dressing. He grabbed the box, ran downstairs, and booked Uber, and was able to personally deliver the order to his relieved customer on time. Now that's the end, and the end is where things comes to a resolution. So see, there was a challenge. Everything was normal initially. Then there was a challenge. Then there was an action, and then the action taken to overcome that challenge is the end. But imagine that what is the moral of the story here? The moral of the story is that how you are able to construct, overcome the challenge, even you are dependable, you are trustable, that even in spite of all the challenge, you ensure that your customer is not suffering because of lack of service from your side. So a lot of things can come out, and people can use such kind of stories during their interviews, during their sales briefing, their meetings, because this is what people want to listen. People don't want to listen your information. People can read information right from your slide. They want to understand your emotions, your feelings. How did you had that victory feeling, or maybe you failed, but what did you learn out of that failure? This is what people want to listen. So now from here, I want to give you an assignment. And if you are really learning out of this piece that I've shared with you, then I have an assignment for you. The assignment is, I want you to write your story, your own story, something that I have just shared out of your experience, out of your journey, or any incident that has happened in the recent past. Write down, script your story, make a 1 minute video, 2 minute video, and record it. And I would love to see you share it back to me on my YouTube channel, or you can write back to me on arun.tukral@hcnconnect.in. I would love to hear your story. I would love to hear your experience, that how you created that story. Well, if this has given you some learning, it deserves a thumbs up. Do like this video, share or comment what did you learn out of it, because I'll be coming with one more series on storytelling and how to become a confident speaker, what all you need to include in your story when you are thinking about it. So stay tuned, and happy learning to all of you. Thanks a lot.